Well, it's a two for Friday on something to talk about. Two of us squeezed into one little rectangle here.
Oh, that's not so
It's
bad.
yeah, it's the Stuart and Lauren show this morning. So welcome everyone to something to talk about. Hope you're all doing well. Everyone is feeling well and doing well, and everyone's safe. And we're just glad that you decided to spend a little bit of your Friday morning with us. And we're just gonna yak for the next hour a little bit.
That is what we have been doing for the last
Yes,
two and a half months, 3 months.
yeah, and we agree on most everything.
We do?
Yeah, because
Okay.
because there isn't much sense in disagreeing. Because
Well,
it won't go anywhere.
you can, and then you go to your different rooms,
That's right.
and then you come out an hour later.
And we've used rooms in the house that we haven't used
In years.
in years. But do hope everyone is well. We keep seeing some of the statistics that are coming out about the pandemic, and unfortunately, it's a very sad situation that our numbers have surpassed 100,000. But hopefully, we all pray that maybe this will be the apex, and now it'll start to go downward. Although there's been an awful lot of conversation. We've been talking about it on this show and many other shows about the fact that now that more of the public areas are being opened up, is that going to cause a spike in new cases? We don't know. We have to wait and see. The medical community is working very, very hard on trying to come up with a viable serum that will help. They're trying to fast track it through so that.
But that's a while away.
It's going to take,
no matter what anyone says.
They can't keep the businesses all closed until that happens. Yeah. So they are opening, and a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. That there are some. I keep going back and using Costco as an example because Costco as a corporation just said, okay, look, here's the way it's going to work at Costco. We don't care about other stores and corporations, but at Costco, you don't enter this building unless you have a mask on, and they even issue them at the door if you don't.
They're together. They have their act together, as do a few others that do, and there are a lot of others that don't. But what amazes me is some of the people that are coming up with ideas, second ideas, people that are business people already, but that have been shut down throughout this virus. And now they are thinking of new things to reinvent themselves.
Right.
And specifically the one woman that they have been talking about in Frisco that I believe and I think that's Susan Hammond. I think that's her first name. Last name is Hammond. And they have the Countdown to Escape. They did Sharon.
Yeah.
Countdown to Escape in Frisco on Main Street that has been shut down, that it has just recently opened. But in the beginning, they didn't know what they were going to do. And what did she do? But she opened up her garage, and she had ordered puzzles.
Jigsaw
puzzles of all sizes, shapes. Sold them out of her garage. She said she sold over 300 of them in the first month. She has now morphed into another business of making people happy and making happy bags. Yeah. I can't say I would have thought of that. And she is finding things to put in these happy bags that you can't find elsewhere. I give her kudos and credit.
Exactly. I mean, because other people just said, okay, we're just going to have to close our doors and deal with it. Right. A lot of the restaurants did that. Other restaurants said, okay, we're just going to keep the kitchen open. We're going to keep making the food, but we're not going to be able to serve people inside, but they can call in, they can go online and place the orders and pay for it online, and then we'll just walk it out to the car, and everything from hot dogs and burgers to complete steak dinners, including a bottle of wine. So you could do everything. But it was, Lauren said, reinventing yourself. Yeah, it was reinventing and also repurposing what your business was. I've seen art galleries people couldn't come in to shop for artwork. So what they did was they put it online, and you could go to virtual exhibitions, and you could order artwork. People are using the internet for a lot of their purchases now. We just talked about the fact that one of the local restaurants, not too far from us, now has robot delivery vehicles. They look like ice chests.
Yes,
Large
it's the
ice chests.
Starships, I think it's called.
Yeah,
Star something, and they are all over Frisco, but they only do certain restaurants.
Yeah, they put the food in this container.
Right.
They program it. It's programmed for your address, and this little thing comes down your sidewalk in front of your house, lets you know that your order is there. You go outside, you have a code, you open it up, take your food, and the little robot goes back to the restaurant.
But it's beginning stages, and it's beginning areas.
They're trying it.
And so they're trying it. It seems to be working well. Unfortunately, if you get too many of these on the sidewalk, it makes it a little difficult for some of us to be walking at the same time.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen when one of the kids is on their skateboard going down the sidewalk while one of those little robot vehicles is coming up the sidewalk.
Let's not go there. Hopefully that won't happen. But yes. And we had gotten out of retail a few years ago, and if we had still been in, what would we have done to reinvent ourselves? And you have to come up with something when you have a business to keep that flow of money coming in.
Certainly, certain items you can go ahead and you can post it online and people can buy. Clothing and footwear is a little bit different because you usually want to try it on. Yeah. However, that having been said, there's a lot of these companies that now have just relaxed all of their other freight charges, and they will send it to you if it works fine. If not, there's a label. Put the label on, drop it off at the post office, and
well, that's what online shopping is about. You have to have that capability of being able to let your customers return the goods if they're not happy or if it doesn't fit.
Right. It's repurposing. It's recreating what your system is all about.
Maybe that's why everybody was at the post office the last few days and we couldn't get into the post office.
Yeah, who knows? Lots of folks at the post office.
Yeah. So, so talking about COVID, we've talked about it a lot. You and Vaughn have talked about it a lot, and I think we should switch.
We should switch what?
Genres, venues. There's something else you wanted to say about COVID?
Oh, there's probably a lot we could talk about COVID because.
Okay, what else do you want to?
It's affected everybody.
It has affected everybody. It's sad how it's affected. I told you about my friend that I met yesterday, whose aunt and niece passed away because she was washing clothes from somebody that had the virus, but she didn't know it, and she got she got COVID. She got the virus, and she ultimately passed away before passing it on to her daughter. And they found out through going back and tracing that this woman originally got the virus through the buttons that were on the clothes that she was washing from this friend of hers. Who would think?
Well,
you wouldn't think of something like that.
I think that's part of the problem is that we don't exactly know where it's coming from and how it can be contracted. For instance, it's not the elderly in the nursing homes that are getting the disease. It's being brought in by the healthcare workers and caregivers that are going out every day and coming back the next day because there's no way to determine where they've gone and did they go and get food? Did they go into someplace else? And they picked it up. They bring it back into the nursing home and it's transmitted because you don't overnight all of a sudden get the symptoms. They don't manifest sometimes for 7 to 14 days.
Yeah, but this woman, it was within 2 days.
Within 2 days?
Within 2 days. So everybody's different. I guess every case is different. Every scenario is different. But you have to be so careful. And who would think that a button, not the shirt, the button on the shirt carried that disease?
Right.
It's amazing to me.
Something as small and simple as that.
The fact that they tracked it. to the button. I mean, that's even amazing. So that being
So
said,
that kind of leads into that area of where do you go and what do you do now that more things starting to open up again? It's become it's up to us as individuals. If you feel safe going to the pool, going to the beach, going to public venues, and all, you now have the right to do it, and you can choose to do that. But I feel it's a little unfair that you criticize other people that don't, because it's also up to us. Honestly, I don't have a problem going to Costco because the employees there are all covered up, wear face masks. They don't allow the customers to come in without a face mask and all. But when I go into some of the grocery stores or I go into some of the restaurants, and you see that only half of the people are covered up, now the decision is up to me. And now I say, okay, you know what? I don't feel comfortable, so I will not shop in this grocery store until all of their people are wearing masks, and they don't allow their customers in unless they're wearing masks.
well, I try to go shopping
You go
at the times when there's
open
hardly
door.
anybody in. And we've gone to Costco when there's been fewer people in there.
They also
I
let
don't
off the
go.
numbers of the people that are coming in, and when they get so many people in the store,
Right.
they stop, and as
Well,
people are leaving, they allow more people in.
Home Depot does that too.
We
were
that's
there
right.
too at Home Depot.
And Home Depot also may have 4 or 5 entrances. They have one entrance and a different exit.
Right.
So it's almost like
Right.
a one-way flow of traffic.
But I feel that if you can go in the morning when they first open at any place, that's the time to go, as opposed to noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon or even 4 o'clock. I'm funny about that. But you can only do so much, as my sister would say.
That's right.
And then it's out of your hands.
And I look at it, it still amazes me that you can go, say, by a Starbucks or so and see 30 cars or so. It's going through the drive-through, because indoors is still closed, but you can still go through the drive-through. Because we live in a modern society now, everybody's got their laptops or they've got their phones with them. So while they're sitting in line to get their double mocha frappuccino with the skinny whatever, they could be doing some business. They could be making phone calls hands free in their cars. So those lines are there, and people seem to mind them less. We drove by, we had a package to mail at the post office. We've driven by our little local post office 4 times in the last 2 days, and there's been such a line of people waiting to mail packages that we just keep going back.
Yeah, I will not stand there. It's a small area.
It's a little more confined.
And I'm a little hesitant.
Even though the post office, they've got their glass between the people there and the patrons. They've got the tape down on the floor of 6 feet in between people. But that line goes around the front, down the side hall, maybe even out the door.
Right, it snakes.
And we were talking earlier about some of the public areas that are opening, like amusement parks that are opening now, and they are having to restrict contact. How easy is that to do?
I don't know. I wish I had some words of wisdom for our daughter-in-law and son, or any of the younger people that have smaller kids, because it's going to be a very difficult summer. Yes, they're opening up some of these places, but they have capacity guidelines. And again, do you know where these other people have been? Do you know where these other kids have been? It's a touchy situation. And what are they going to do with the kids? Some of the camps are not opening. Some of them are. But again, who are the kids that are going to be at the camps? And again, they have a capacity limit that they may have to go by. This is tough.
And I urge everyone, before you go out, maybe call where you're going to find out how busy are they. If you want to go to, now some of the restaurants, what they've done is moved a lot of their tables to one side, and they will allow for some inside dining. I have to give kudos to a lot of the business owners. They are taking every step. They're going above and beyond to make sure that the tables are cleaned and wiped constantly. So if you want to go in, you want to sit down at this table, probably there isn't going to be anyone within 12 feet away from you because they're trying to do their part.
12?
If they have out,
6.
well, 6 to 12. It depends. If they normally can have a 24 table capacity, now they're down to 8 to 10 or 12 tables. It's to make the patron feel more comfortable and safe. And I applaud them for that. And this may be the new normal for us when you wanted to go out and get something to eat. But it's still, the onus is still on us to say, you know what, I think I'm still going to call an order in and pick it up and bring it home, and we'll sit and watch Netflix or something.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting when this all first started and they started giving the age groups of who had to worry about it and who didn't. And they mentioned seniors, and seniors were really going to have to watch where they go and who they're with. And they were the most vulnerable group. And I thought, oh, that's really a shame. The seniors are going to have to be careful. And they kept repeating this over and over. And probably about the 4th or 5th time, I realized I'm a senior and my husband's a senior.
Yeah, we're part of that group.
Oh, and because I don't think of us as seniors, but we definitely are because,
we
are.
I would love to go back to a movie theater, go inside the theater and watch it on the big, huge screen. And a lot of these are dinner type movie theaters where you can order a sandwich.
Studio Movie Grill.
Yeah.
Flickster
Flick's Brew House.
Yeah, Flick's Brew House.
And I'm sure that it will happen as they relax these things. But again, is the experience going to be the same? Maybe, because when you go into a movie, you sit down, you have something to eat, watch the movie, and you go home. But you're not going to walk into that movie theater and find every seat taken. They're going to be spreading people out until it comes to a time when they say we got the all clear, and so now you can go 100% occupancy.
I hope one day that I feel comfortable. I don't even feel comfortable right now going to an outdoor restaurant. And I know some of my friends are, to have a drink, to have dinner, whatever. I'm not there yet. And I hope one day I will get there, because I don't want to have to go someplace and always be thinking, okay, is something bad going to happen within the next 2 weeks now that I've been here? Why subject myself? And I don't know.
Well, that's our decision to make. And if somebody else says, we were at that restaurant, everything's fine.
You're getting a little closer. You're getting a little closer to thinking about going out, because you mentioned it. In fact, yesterday you mentioned it.
But my first step was that, do you want to go out and get something to eat? We'll go to a restaurant that has outdoor seating.
I can't do it. I could go to Sonic for some ice cream, maybe.
That's because you sit in the car.
Yeah, that's right.
They bring it out too.
Do they have any drive-in movies?
There are drive-in movies. In fact, those are the ones that are now opening up, not only to show movies, but they're going to be broadcasting, streaming some musical events, concerts.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. But again, even at those outdoor movie locations, they are allowing people to go in every other space instead of packing the people in. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether they've got concessions that are open for people to go in, or whether they call the concession and order something and it's brought to the vehicles. Every time they relax one of these rules, the government side says, we want you to do this. It's up to the owner of the business to put those minimum requirements into place, but also with due diligence to say, I'm going to go one step beyond that to make sure that everybody is safe.
Yeah.
And I applaud those, and those are the ones that I think I'm going to be more apt to go and frequent.
I can't imagine being in business right now with a restaurant or a boutique like we had, and having to sanitize the doors every few minutes You have to completely sanitize the bathrooms after someone has been in there. Anything that they can touch, the glass on the counters, the hangers, the tables and the chairs in a restaurant. Everything has to be sanitized, which is another reason why a lot of the community pools are not opening.
Well, yeah, you bring up the pools and the water parks, now, and even pools within homeowners associations. The state has said you must have people there to clean the bathrooms constantly. Anybody uses one of the restroom facilities, you have to have somebody to desanitize that facility immediately.
So you need one person for the men and one person for the women's bathrooms. Right. You need the security to check off how many people are coming in, click off how many people.
To keep the numbers.
It's a lot of money that associations do not plan on spending, nor do they have the money for all of this. And so therefore, a lot of the pools will not be opening at least the beginning of the summer. I don't know going forward.
No, later on. The other comment about that is we live in Texas. By July and August, the temperature during the day is going to be 105 degrees. There are those within even the medical community that says that this virus cannot exist, in those kinds of temperatures. Warm, hot temperatures and all defeat the virus on the surfaces. Yeah. Well, to a certain degree, yes. And there's a lot of people will say, okay, it's 105 degrees. We can go wherever we want and do whatever we want. Let's go to the beach. Let's go to the picnic areas. But there's other people that are going to say, I don't care how hot it is out there and how much the sun is shining. I think I'm going to still lay low.
Yeah, you don't know.
There is no right or wrong answer, really.
Whatever happened with Vegas? Let's talk about being hot. Vegas is going to get hot real soon if they aren't already.
And Las Vegas is starting to reopen.
And I thought they reopened already.
They just said that Disney World down in Florida is going to reopen, and they are also going to have to make some concessions. Only 25% capacity. Can you imagine at Disney World, which sometimes gets close to 100,000 people in the park on a day, all of a sudden you say, well, no, you can't have 100,000 people. You can only have 25,000.
Can you imagine getting up to the front of the line and them saying, oh, sorry, we just reached our max. You're out.
Well, can you also imagine that you're waiting in line for either a concession or you're waiting in line to go to the Hall of Presidents or Space Mountain, and you're 6 feet apart from the person in front of you, and those lines sometimes will have upwards of 500 people waiting to get into that attraction. Now those 500 people are spaced out 6 feet apart. I mean, that's almost to the front gates.
Can't imagine. But I thought Michael said on your previous show that it was going to be July that they were opening.
Yeah.
Which isn't getting into the middle of hurricane season. Now, can you imagine this pandemic with hurricane season?
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
That's another note that I wrote down for just discussion is the fact that take Central Michigan. Central Michigan, they just had 2 levees that broke and flooded a couple of counties, displaced 10,000 people. Now you've got 10,000 people that are out of their homes. They've got to go someplace. And they are now putting themselves at even greater risk of the pandemic because they don't have their homes. Now, if there are issues with the hurricane season in Florida starting, there's already 2 storms that are out there now. What happens if a storm comes and even does minor damage, but people get hurt? Where are those people going? They've got to go to hospitals. The hospitals are overfilled right now because they're devoting a certain amount of their space to dealing with people with the pandemic. So now you're adding insult to injury because we are putting ourselves at risk with flooding, with tornadoes here across Texas. When we get rain and hail, there was just a report that not only is the hurricane season in Florida going to be a little maybe a little bit larger than a normal season.
Right.
The dryness out on the West Coast is starting already, which means, forest fires. That's going to displace people.
They said that already.
It's going to put our first responders at risk. It now means that there is that chance that more people are going to be in a state of need, and the hospitals and a lot of the services are already operating at paper thin levels.
Have we heard anything about Michigan with the levee that broke? I have not been listening to the news. I just
10,000 people have been displaced. They've been sent someplace, and
or how you deal with all that.
They open up a school gymnasium and they put cots, and now they put hundreds of people in close quarters again. That's right.
You can't catch a break.
You get smacked in the left, and then you get smacked in the right.
You can't catch a break. The news is news. It's never meant to be happy all the time, but it gets to the point where I think there are a lot of us that are just listening to the little bit that we have to for our local news, and then that's it. It's so sad. Everything is so sad.
A lot of folks are chiming in. They're listening to and watching the show, and I very much appreciate that. And one in particular, Jessie Toussaint is watching the show. She is a nurse and one of those people that has been going above and beyond to take care of people. And Jessie, we love you, and thank you very, very much for all that you and your co-workers do to help keep us safe.
Absolutely. I can't imagine. I can't imagine, but we love you. We thank you. We admire you.
Yeah, the people in the healthcare industry. We've talked over the last years or so about our first responders, our police, and our firefighters, and all. And now we have to add those healthcare workers to that list. Absolutely. Because they're putting themselves in danger and at risk, and all to keep other people out of danger and out of risk. And also, we certainly applaud you, and we think of you every day. It's tough. It's tough because it seems like our thoughts over these last 6 months and everything have been more negative than positive.
Well, that's what I mean, and that's what I mean about the news. And we talk about our healthcare workers, especially now. Talk about the police, the fire. To get up every day and put a smile on your face and to go to work, that in itself, that takes a whole lot of stamina in this day and age, and with what we're going through, it's
whatever you do,
unbelievable.
Don't lose your sense of humor.
No.
If it means we've been watching lots of Netflix.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go on watch Netflix, don't watch the hardcore drama type movies and series and all. Get over to the comedy side and all.
Yeah, and that's what we did. Yeah, the other night.
In fact, one we will highly recommend to everyone if you do have Netflix is Jerry Seinfeld.
Please.
It's called 23 Hours to Kill. He goes back to doing stand-up comedy, and you will be just so separated from pandemic and everything for an hour.
You will laugh, and you will be able to relate with everything he says for an hour. It's a great getaway, let me tell you.
And we need those. The other thing that seems to have grown from this whole pandemic thing is this visual connection that we have with each other. What we used to call Skyping now is Zooming and StreamYard, all these other outlets that you have for getting people together, for having reunions. We're dropping in and talking to people across the country that we've spoken to on the phone, or you text.
Or our relatives.
Yeah.
We don't see our relatives because they're in the Northeast. And so
a couple weeks ago, we got all of our relatives on Zoom and everything from around the country, and just had like a virtual reunion. It's something to do, stay in touch with people that way, and spend a few minutes just talking about how are you, checking in. That's another thing, checking in on people, neighbors, relatives, you know, with people through your churches and synagogues and all. Call them up. Are you okay? Do you need anything? I'm going to the grocery store in a little while. Is there anything you want me to pick up for you?
It occurred to me years ago when I was growing up, and I heard people talking about how telephones, you will be able to see the people you're talking to in your telephone.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know if
Yeah.
I really want to do that. I mean, you know, who wants to talk to people in their pajamas, you know, and who wants to talk to people early in the morning when they're just getting up? And it's here. It is here, baby. It is here all the way.
This is a radio show, folks. This is KVGI radio. And I'll start off as a radio show in a studio, my voice behind a microphone. And then all of a sudden, our good friend Mark Warner says, you know what? We're going to start video casting our radio shows on Facebook. And so people are not only going to hear you, they're going to see you. Oh, that means I gotta comb my hair. I gotta put on a decent shirt.
Yeah.
And all.
Well, you don't have
be
to.
Presentable.
You don't have to. Have you seen the national broadcasters? Some of the guys.
Oh, they take a long shot.
Yeah, and they don't realize it's going to be as long as it is, and they're in their pajamas and their socks and their slippers,
blue jeans or shorts, and
not even blue jeans, honey.
And
not even blue jeans.
And then they got their shirt, their tie, and their jacket.
Oh man, it's funny to see. But I love seeing their homes or their apartments to see where, you know, because they're broadcasting a lot of them still from where they live or their offices, and I love it.
It's almost like the news meets a fixer-upper. You know, you're saying, and you're listening to the news, you're saying, oh, look at that painting she's got on the wall behind her. Or, oh, I like that couch.
Oh,
look at those
I love
cushions.
it. I love it. One of them had a new baby, and you could hear the baby crying in the background. It was, and then, or the dog or the cats run by.
We just got something posted, the Margie Cope and the family back in Chicago and all. Sent on Facebook, and Mark put it on there. Good to see
Margie.
You guys.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for dropping in.
Yeah, we're glad everybody's doing well.
See, that's another dimension of what you know modern technology can do.
What it is. Yeah. But what was I talking about?
I don't know.
Oh,
what were we talking about?
We're talking about seeing the broadcasters.
Seeing people and seeing those couches with those nice cushions.
Yeah, no, I love seeing everybody.
We'll be listening to a newscast. I'm really.
You're not listening to the news.
I'm intently listening to the news, and you're saying, look at that vase.
I do say that
on that table, and that's beautiful.
Or look at the dog in the background that just went by. Isn't it cute?
Yeah,
because the dog or the cat's.
We were on a virtual meeting last night, and all of a sudden, the two people were there, and the dog and the cat walks across the desk.
That was a big cat. Whoa. Yeah, the cat's been doing very well eating during the pandemic.
It was either a big cat or a small tiger.
Wow. And we just have one that sleeps right next to us. So
she's doing a good job of it right now too.
So have we just about gone through the pandemic?
Well, I don't think we've gone through it.
I mean, we talked about it.
Well, you know, the only other thing that I was thinking about is, you know, this situation has displaced so many people. What is it, 3 million unemployed or more than that? Some of these people are taking a time reduction and a salary reduction in all for those businesses to stay afloat. And some have just said, no, I'm sorry, we've got to furlough everybody and we'll call you when the doors open again. Well, some of those people can sit back and say, we've got some savings and we'll just have to live off of our savings. But others say, I can't, I've got to find something. Good case in point, your wait staff in restaurants, they make money on tips. What are they doing right now?
Yeah.
So now you've got a situation that has been accelerated because they don't have their normal jobs to depend on. They don't know when they're going to go back. They need something else. What jobs are there out there?
Some of them are making up their own jobs. Some of them are making masks. Some of them are starting a landscape business, a home business, like a handyman business. And we can use more of everything.
Some people are buying toilet paper for 50 cents a roll and selling it for $5.
Why is it we still can't find toilet paper? I can't find wipes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get away from a very important
Not only
topic.
that, but you know what else is in short supply? Yeast.
Well, and that's the
People
other thing.
are baking bread and they're doing more baking, and the yeast supply has gone
And how do
south.
we know that?
Because we started baking bread and I couldn't find yeast.
And this is something we have never done.
Right.
And we probably shouldn't be doing, but we are baking bread.
There's been a spike in baking bread and putting together jigsaw puzzles.
Yes. And huge. I wonder, I have not seen anything on the news. What are the numbers for dollars spent in retail for people on the computer? Because as my good friend Margie just chimed in and said hello, she and I have spent a fair amount of time on the computer on the computer
and money
buying things, and that it's led to all this time on our hands, and so we are on our computer. Yeah.
And we just got a note from Randy Bruno, who is now Judge Randy Bruno.
Judge Randy. Maybe Judge will have her own TV show.
Judge
Chicago.
Judge Randy.
Judge Randy.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Because you know what? You're not going to the courts. Your cases are heard virtually now, depending on the case, depending what's going on.
Have you seen the new Judge show? Judge Jerry. Judge Jerry.
Oh.
You know who Judge Jerry is?
Yeah.
Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
Is now got a judge show. Another.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like the judge that you've been watching. Is he in Michigan?
Judge Caprio, caught in Providence.
We are digressing tremendously.
That's okay.
But
it's things we're suggesting these to our listeners.
Yes.
These are things they can do while they're sequestered indoors.
That's true. Okay, Judge. What's his name?
Judge Caprio.
I can't.
It's called. The show is called Caught in Providence.
So different.
It's in Providence, Rhode Island, and it's a traffic court. And this is an old Italian judge, and he's got a lot of compassion. And these people come up because they've got parking tickets and all, and he discusses the parking tickets and asks them why they haven't paid their parking tickets, and he either reduces their fines or
he takes pity.
Yeah, he takes pity. He very often. And I think people go out of their way to come up with stories like, because, for instance, if they've made an illegal turn on a red light or they've gone through a red light, they've got a lot of their traffic lights are on camera. So they play the video, and he says, okay, there's the video. It shows you going right through that stop sign or through that traffic light. What do you have to say for yourself? Well, Your Honor, I'm sorry. My son was in the hospital and he was getting ready to go under surgery, and I was running a little late, and I needed to be there at the hospital with him and all. And the judge says, oh, well, in that case, okay, your case is dismissed. I wonder how many of them go out in the hallway and go,
yeah,
I pulled that one off.
But I would think he'd be smart enough. He's been doing this for a long time. Yeah. I think he's kind of like a Judge Judy. He kind of feels them out.
He's also got a bailiff that's in the court with him that I think checks into some of these to see if it's a legit story.
Probably.
But that makes for good TV. See, and that way you can make a nice sandwich and a couple of chips and a drink and sit down and watch a little TV instead of being out in the stores. And
maybe part of our show should be recommending movies. We could be like a Ebert and Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert. Yes.
I don't know who the modern.
We're from Chicago.
Yeah.
And recommended movies.
Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you got some good movies to recommend?
And the problem is, you watch them, and can you remember what you watched?
And yet
you remember the story, but you can't remember the title all the time.
And we sit down and we put on maybe Netflix and we want to look for something. And we saw that. And we saw that. Did we see that one? Oh, yeah. We saw that one.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter of trying to find something you haven't seen.
But we need to start making a list because people are asking us to recommend some titles. And
well, that's the other thing that goes along with age. Somebody says, "Oh yeah, so what's a good show?" And you go,
"Let's see. It had the word that began with."
It was the something.
Yeah, the something. You can't even.
One of them
something.
that was very good was Hollywood.
Hollywood was very good.
Last. It was I think a 6 or 8 part series.
Who would have ever thought that they had a gas station that was a front for?
Well, those were the old days.
Some fun times.
Those were the days when today it's a bad thing, but those were the days when actors and actresses could advance their careers on the casting couch. And it was just kind of a given in the business that you did it.
This is what you did.
Chummy with the producer, you could get a part in a film. Well, now today, fast forward, and they're all losing their credibility because of that.
Yeah. But a gas station?
Well,
I mean, who would have thought?
They were doing more than pumping gas.
Yeah, they were. Too many things you could say.
and a lot of those shows that are on Netflix go back to previous days. We started a year ago actually watching the series The Crown. Was it The Crown or
The Crown was fabulous.
Yeah, the story of Queen Elizabeth from her childhood days growing up.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was well, because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and this gives you kind of a little peek.
Yeah.
Supposedly, if it's true, as to what went on with Queen Elizabeth. Hi, Lynn.
Hi to Lynn Steiner.
We miss you, and thanks for tuning in.
That's also what's fun about this show is that it's not just North Texas. It's people from all over the country that get a chance to see it and take part in it, watch, make comments. We hope you're enjoying it. If you like it, tell your friends about it and share the shows and tell them to like us. And I'm even doing more of that. I'm watching a lot of other shows that people are doing. There are a lot of entertainers that are now doing live videos. We have a folk singer back in Chicago that about every other week he goes on for about an hour and a half, and he does it for nothing. He says, if you want, you can go to my website and you can drop a few bucks in the guitar case if you want that way. But a lot of entertainers are just saying, I just don't want to sit here and do nothing. So they're promoting themselves via the internet.
Well, there's other concerts. And here we go. They just went right out of my head. No. There's Keith Urban.
Yeah. Bad Company just had an online.
Celine Dion, I thought, had one.
Stop and think about it.
Country stars.
Yeah, you can go online and you can buy a virtual ticket for $10, sometimes $20. But to go to a venue hall, to get in a car and travel to a stadium and sit up in the balcony or so and spend $70 or something for that.
Was there a fee?
We even got a note from our producer, Mark Warner.
He has to say that.
Michigan.
He has to say Michigan loves us, that we're awesome. You have to pay?
We love you too, Mark.
Mark, thank you. Do you have to pay for these concerts?
Some you do. Some you have to get a ticket in order to get the link to sign in.
I didn't see that on the ones I was looking at.
Yeah. Others like I say, the Facebook Live performances, some of them just say, if you can contribute a little bit, please do so. If not, just sit back and enjoy. Yeah. And it's from their living room to yours. It's unplugged. And it's really a new dimension. Something that, 10 years from now, we're all going to look back and we're going to say, boy, you remember that pandemic we went through back in 2020? That was terrible. But you remember when they did this and we did that? and the people that are going to remember it most are those kids that are graduating high school or college in 2020, and they're going through virtual ceremonies.
Yeah.
And all they're gonna go through this year something that no other graduating class has ever gone through before, and hopefully we'll never have to go through again. But what was unique about 2020 was that, again, the public went outside the box. The universities and the schools said, we don't want to take this away from these students, so we're going to figure out a way. The Indy 500 racetrack just did multiple graduation ceremonies when they were presenting the diplomas to the students, and all the parents were driving into the Indy 500 racetrack, driving around so they virtually could see, or they could see in live time their child receiving their diploma.
Who would have thought?
And it was something the city of Indianapolis and the owners and organizers of the Indy 500.
Well, we did it here at the Texas Speedway.
They did it at the Texas Speedway.
Yeah.
They're doing it at a few of the football stadiums.
Yeah. And there is, now that I think about it, there's a drive-in, couple of them in West Texas, and there might be one near us as well that have used their properties for the graduations.
And they're taking every precaution necessary to make sure that it's a safe process. And I think it's great because they're videotaping this, and it's a treasure that these families will have.
Yeah. Just as long as they keep it all safe. I'm not too sure I still agree with the ones that are having their graduations.
Oh, they're trying to do them indoors.
Or even outside, and they're still seating everybody together. Not too sure.
Well, and one of those is Elizabeth Loic. Vaughn's daughter, who is a senior graduating here in Frisco. And this weekend, they're going through their graduation ceremonies, and also congratulations.
Congratulations, to Elizabeth.
Yep. We're very proud of you.
How fantastic and how exciting that you're going to college.
Yep.
Where's she going? She's going to Baylor.
Baylor, another Baylor Bear.
Yep.
All three of the Loic kids. One is out, and there will be two little bear cubs in there.
And Vaughn will be an empty nester.
Yes. And
you'll love it, Vaughn.
Yeah. And Phil is still going to be the pool boy.
Well, Phil will always be the pool boy,
but it's been
good, but I got to get my list together on movies.
All right. Well, we'll just have to do another one of these shows and talk about movies to watch while you're still sequestered.
Our time's not up, is it?
Well, pretty soon. I mean, you want to go get a list of movies?
What if I could? The one that we have not seen, and I'm sure I'll hear about it from all of my friends, is 1917.
Yeah,
we have not watched that.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
Somebody mentioned we have, and somebody else mentioned we need to watch Schitt's Creek. Yeah. And every time I say it, I think, do I want to watch a movie that's called Schitt's Creek?
You got to watch it to find out.
I know, they say it's fabulous. Your sister loves it. Yeah. And your sister's not a TV person, really. So, yeah, she loves it.
Also the interesting thing is we want to watch 1917. And I said to Lauren, but you know what? I think that's a 3-hour movie. And then all of a sudden we looked at each other and said, so what? We don't have,
where are we going?
We don't have 3 hours to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
When it's only steps to the kitchen if you want to get a snack during the movie, and you don't have to interact with anybody. So yeah, now is the time that if there's those really long documentaries or long movies that you've been putting off, now is the time to watch them.
And if you're a Chicagoan, we loved The Last Dance. We are still kind of, my poor mom thought it was about dancing.
Yep.
And when she turned it on, there was no dancing.
See, it's 10 episodes or the final years of the Chicago Bulls.
Yes, dynasty. Michael Jordan. It's all about Michael Jordan and the team. And you got to be a basketball fan.
Yeah, but to appreciate it. But it's more than about basketball. It's about the interactive lives between the players.
And that's the interesting part. That's
what
fascinates me.
Team owners too.
Yeah. So that's good. We're still watching.
So there's still a lot to say. And again, if you're going to venture out, make sure you're safe when you venture out. and I'll try and find some hand sanitizer and some little containers of wipes. If you go to the grocery stores, take the wipes and wipe off the cart. Even though the help at the stores have been doing it, it's a good second.
You can make it yourself.
Yeah,
we don't,
just
but you can
do that. Yeah. Wear your mask or get a bandana or something, because not only just do it for yourself, but do it for the other people that are around you, and just be safe.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. And we
want to go watch a movie?
I think that's a good idea. We'll go make some lunch and sit down, and we'll watch a movie or start a new series. And that's good advice for you too. You can go out and do the same thing. So thanks again for being with us on Something to Talk About. And Mark, thanks again up in Michigan for producing the show. We appreciate it very much. Love to you and to Kim and to Luna, the doggy. And hope we'll all see you here right again next week. And all, Josh Zimmerman just jumped in, and all, for a good buddy of ours and our sons back in Chicago. So thank you everybody for being a part of the show. We'll see you again next week right here on Something to Talk About.